Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Commodity Futures Report for Monday, October 17, and starting with the 10-year yields here. As mentioned before, we're still looking for further upside. Normally we get sort of the first high above the level, and then we can look at a ABC correction for wave 4 and then further to the upside at that point. Is that connected to anything? No. So yeah, yeah, it's just a normal sort of pattern up here where you get the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then the correction. So we've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. I'm not sure how that high will go. You know, we don't really trade this. We just keep a bit of an eye on it, so I don't go onto the intraday. But and then wave 4 can pull back to the wave 4 one lesser degree, but normally I find it's like up a bit from that point. But this particular correction should be 60% bigger than this one. Just as a rule of thumb, I wouldn't get too sort of caught up in that, but yeah, we've got that longer term trend line cutting through here. So yeah, that 4%, we'll see it stall there for a while, and then we'll see it push up to 5%. And once it pushes up there, then we'll see a larger ABC coming back. I mean, it'll be, you know, the bonds will be that low, the stock market will be in shambles, and, you know, they'll sort of talk about sort of will they ease, won't they ease on the rates, and all those sort of things. So that can happen for like 6 months to see how things go. They'll keep them there, but give the impression that they won't raise them for a while. They'll see how it goes, and they'll realize that it won't work. And based on the 5 waves to the upside here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means we'll get a correction and then another 5 to the upside. So pretty scary stuff. We'll see how the cookie crumbles on all of that. All I can do is just count the waves and go step by step, but that's kind of what I'm seeing so far in all of this, and I feel pretty comfortable about that. I don't see anything wrong with this particular wave count. It looks pretty spot on to me. So that's where that is. The US dollar, I do think it's got further upside to go. However, I think we could be in a bit of a correction. This move down through here is not in 5 waves. It's in 3 waves, because it just doesn't count as 5 waves. When I look at the ETF for this, the Invesco UUP ticker here, this is on 100 ticks. This move down through here is the A wave to this point, the B wave here, and the C wave here. I've only got 3 waves here. I don't have 5 waves coming down. It's true that there can be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. So that's what the US dollar can be. An A wave down here, a B wave up here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for this, and then up from that point. But that's, you know, it's hard to look at that as 5 waves, and there is overlap in, you know, on the euro indices as well. So the euro to the ups, we'll have this to the upside, and we have to look at it also as an A wave. So they're going, you know, the pound and the euro doing the same thing in the opposite direction, really. I don't know if it's going to come down here yet. I'll need to see it like sort of collapse a little bit from this point, somewhere down into this space here. For that, and then we could look at this as 1 and 2 here. You know, I've got it so far as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 2, and then going up from here. But I can count this as impulsive or corrective. What I was really looking for is good support on top of the 300, and just not getting it. You know, it's just not doing it. You know, it's just sort of fading at that point. But it's not to say that it's over until the big lady sings, so we'll just give it a little bit of a chance. But any move down under the sort of from that low to that high, anything sort of below the, you know, 62% mark, then it's more than likely that we'll see this move down here. But yeah, we've got to confirm equities and other things at this moment with all of this count, so we're not there yet with that. So anyway, that's where that is. And over to the gold market, starting with these guys, and yeah, look, we just see further downside. No real change here. Down for 1, ABC for 2 here, and looking for the 3rd wave down, the 4th wave, and the 5th wave down here. And yeah, I think that should sort of end it off at that point there. And gold and silver's in pretty much the same boat, really. Different counts, but they need to come down further. So with US spot gold here, we still need to see It's possible to get a kick up here and then down, or we can just come straight down from this point. But let's go in and have a look at that. In fact, I was going to clean that off there. I don't need so many less objects on the chart, the better. So that's a weekly. This is a daily. So we've been looking at it as wave 1 and 2, and then all the way down for the third wave here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, there is overlap there. Don't throw stuff at me. But wave 4 here, this is a 38.2%. Is that enough? Will it just come down from this point, or will we go up to here? You know, back up to that point, or do we look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, and 5, which I think is the case. But it'll just also depend on the US dollar too, so we need to confirm that. But 1650 as the retested resistance with a classic trading levels pattern sort of sitting there. So if that's 1650, a nice headbutt against that, and then a drop to the floor. So yeah, that's sort of how that's sort of playing out. We can go look at that on the 10k tick, I think, or 100 or something, some chart. 10k tick should do the trick. Yeah, so I can see that we can count this, you know, to this wave 4 up here as the A, the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the C for wave 4. But you know, the truth is that can be the A wave here and a B wave over here and a C wave over here for this wave 4. I'm kind of thinking that's not the case though. I'm thinking that we could have wave 4 already done here, because it kind of got like a bit of a 5-wave move here. This is impulsive, this first little initial leg here. So nice 1 and 2. It makes a nice third wave because it's big and long. How to count this here? I mean, yeah, I was just sort of mucking around with it. I was thinking, can we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I know wave 4 overlaps that and start chucking stuff at me again, but not sure how that story ends really in this case, because we've got this low here. It could be that this is the A wave and the B wave here, and then the C wave up to here for wave 2, and then we go down again at that point. So there's a myriad of ways one can view this, but I think one of the important things here is that we need to see this number 1650 as the retested resistance. So sort of any short trades will go under here, but we'll just see how that sort of plays out a bit. You know, it's not a very good resistance at this point, but it is the second time it's doing it, you know. So yeah, that needs a little bit more thought. But yeah, I think we're sort of in that downtrend. To get a B wave out of this, you know, putting a B wave here, is that doable in some way, somehow? I'm not sure. It doesn't look good. It's hard to fit it in correctly, you know. So there was a wave 4 going up here. Look, anything's possible. All I can say is that if the 1650 becomes the resistance, you know, sort of it sneaks under like this and can't get up and starts making new lows, well then that's really the short of it at that particular point in time. Silver's much the same as well. In one way or another, we've got a corrective pattern here. Maybe I could move wave 3 over a little bit. Yeah, we could do that. We could just push this up to here. We could push that to there. We can push that to there. This would be a better look at this point. Still there's overlap there. Yes, I know that. That's there. Push that to there. Then we've got a nice clean ABC pattern for wave 4. We haven't made new lows here, so this also looks a bit impulsive, and it would only be natural to have a bounce off here somewhere, so you can expect some sort of bounce. I think the beauty of it is if you can see that it's in 3 waves, well then you'll have your short trade here and you'll hit the third wave running here, and you'll take that down to 1650 is the next level here. It will go to 16 and go a bit lower in all of this, because this third wave needs to be a bit longer than this one, but the third wave will hit that 1650 there. So but you might want to hold for the fourth as well, depending on what instruments you're using for this, but that low needs to be taken out. So we're still on the downside here. Wave 4 could get more corrective, more complicated, but kind of nice and impulsive here for this, so we're quite close to the low at that point. Copper. So I've been looking at this as third wave low here, much the same as gold really, but it's holding up much better. I mean, you know, when we talk about, you know, gold's just not doing what it should be doing. I mean, copper is moved into the green metals, you know, same as nickel and lithium and cobalt and all of those battery orientated things. Where gold really, you know, US spot gold, as I sort of mentioned this morning, is that, you know, it's just not doing its job as a as an inflation hedge, is it? You know, I mean, because when you look at it coming back here in history here, I mean, it's at the same price it was 10 years ago. I mean, we've got all that inflation, and this yellow thing has turned to put. You know, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. I mean, I don't know any more than that, but it hasn't moved in 10 years after all that inflation really here. So yeah. I mean, I'm still expecting it to to move up, but you know, even when it moves up here, I don't see it moving up a lot. You know, I mean, this is wave 3 here, so wave 1 here, I mean, it'll just come above here, anywhere between 21, 22 and 23 here, somewhere in here, and then it's going to have a much bigger correction in here if that's going to, you know, if that's going to be the norm. You know, it'll be something like this. So it's not doing its job as an inflation hedge, and it's just costing you money to own it, you know. Yeah, but that's that. So, but copper has got a bit half silly chance to move up because of you know, the new car industry and batteries and yada yada yada. So I'm looking at this copper as being bullish and bearish. So on the bullish side, this move down through here is in 3 waves, and we haven't taken the low out here. If we took the low out here, then we would have to be bearish at that point. This move up here, it does count quite nicely as a 3 wave structure, as 1, 2, 3 here, 4 here, and then up for 5 here. So it does count. I suppose you could get 5 waves out of it. You could go wave 1 and 2 here. No, 3, 4. Yeah, it's a bit difficult. It kind of counts better as an A and a B and a C wave. Maybe you could force 5 waves out of it. You'd be forcing it at that point. So I've been looking at it as down for 1, back for 2, down for green wave 1, green wave 2, down for 1 here and back for 2 here. But I can say if it moves above that point there, which would be the 61.8% mark, then it's likely to move up at that point. So will it be just part of this wave 4 over here and do something of that nature? I'm not quite sure, but it hasn't really, you know, over the last all these months, it's kind of kept its price in its own way. So yeah, let's just see how that goes. I mean, this move down through to here looks impulsive. This is all corrective, very much like US stocks really. So we've been looking at them as an A and a B and a C wave up here for that. But I could just as easily look at this as the A wave here. All of this is a triangle for B wave and then down for the C wave. So an A, B and C here for that. So, you know, that, and this going up here as wave 1. So that also works like that as well. So as a corrective move. So these are the things that that I can see that, you know, so I can't do anything unless because in a way it hasn't taken out any highs or lows here at the moment, so we'll just keep a bit of an eye on it at this stage. The other markets still need to go down further. When I mean the other markets, I mean lithium, uranium and nickel. So this is lithium here. I don't think there's much more to go here, but unless there's a bigger picture unwinding here, all I'm doing is just counting 5 waves in here, and we'll see what that looks like at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a look at lithium stocks, you can have a look at the Australian video. We cover US, you know, a handful of US lithium stocks there, and also a handful of Australian stocks. But yeah, I can see this has got further to go down. So I've been talking about that for ages. I haven't pulled the counter about, but 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this will be probably, I don't think that's probably all the same in here, 1, 2 and 3 in here. I'll check that out a bit further. Anyway, I can still see we need 4 and 5 to come in here anyway, so nothing really sort of cooking here. The same for uranium as well. I was thinking that we need 1 and 2 and, you know, 3, 4, 5. I think we need to finish off down here further. It's just not there just yet. You know, I could look at this as wave 1 up here with an A and a B and a C wave here, but we're coming pretty low here as well. So That's sort of not working just yet either. We'll see how the US dollar plays out against this as well. But yeah, we're not really seeing any sort of new highs coming into this game at this stage, you know. And also with nickel as well, you know, I've been harping on about this a little bit. It's possible to call that wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and ABC for 2 is possible, and then up for 1 and back for 2. So it can move up. It's just that this here is a bit large for a wave 2. So, and this looks pretty impulsive here as well. So what we've been doing is, you know, we looked at this as wave A here, and a B wave here, and a C wave here. And yeah, the C wave's sort of okay, but if you sort of forget about that spike there, you know, I mean, kind of reverse. So looking at this as 1 and 2 in here, and then the third wave in here, you know, this is the third wave, and then building up here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So kind of okay, kind of nearly reached our target. Do we have a nice 5 waves down here? Not really, but it's looking a bit heavy here on the 22 here, so it looks like it kind of not going to hold here. Nothing is really looking bullish on this here, more of a bearish pattern. So but yeah, by all means it could still push up from here, but let's just see. I mean, if it drops below here, it looks like a stochastics wants to see it go up, but if it drops below here into this space, then we know that we're on the right track here. So I don't have a bullish count, you know, I mean, I can look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here, but doesn't count very nicely as 5 waves. Doesn't really take out this here. There's, you know, there's I can see how it can be counted bullish, but I can see that there's more issues with the bullish count than there is with the bearish count. So I'll have to stay with the bearish count. And it's not to say this wave 2 is done and dusted yet either. You know, it could be that we get some sort of awkward pattern here that plays out like this, you know, some sort of ABC pattern here for the B wave and then up for the C wave, you know. So we might need to extend it, but the main point here is I don't see a trade here just yet, you know. And over to the energy sector, this is XLE here, so we've just been using this as a bit of a guide stick. We can look at this being bullish, so this would help with the the oil and the gas a bit. So wave 1 over here with an A and a B and a C for wave 2, then up for wave 1, an A and a B and a C wave 2. So we're not sort of in this space just yet for this. It's quite a nice A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for that. So long trades can be taken above this top here, and the reason I'm showing this for is because of crude doing the same thing. So we can look at this as wave 1 up here. We were looking at this pulling back into wave 2 here. I thought that it might be able to push up from this point, but in line with XLE, that's just not the case, and we'll see how this plays out. I mean, it's always been the same. We've been looking for support on top of this, on top of 90, and we haven't got it so far. I could look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 up here, by the way, and wave 4 over here, but it's not too deep. It's sort of just touching on the 50, hasn't overlapped wave 1, so we could look at it like that as a wave 4 and put wave 1 and 5 over here, but that kind of wouldn't match up with what I'm looking at with the other energy market ETFs and stock XOM and so on. So yeah, anyway, that's where that is. Let's just see if it lifts. Look, the bottom line is we want that 90 as support. That's it, you know. I mean, we're in a downtrend, so we want, you know, we want a solid piece of evidence to say that we're going up, and counting it down here, whichever way you've got it counted down here, I mean, it's not the best set of legs I've seen. So it could be counted differently, and it could be counted that it's not finished, you know. So we do need that, you know, when it came down and bounced here and spent a lot of time in this level here and then came back and tested it here. So this market is all about this price point through here. It's all about that. So unless we get that as support, or unless we can see a structure that we could work with, you know, I mean, even if we do count 5 waves down here, then we still, you know, at the moment, it might push up in 5 waves. It looks like 3, but it might push up in 5. We need to see, once this lands down here somewhere, we need to see a nice 5 wave structure. We don't have to rush it. we'll see some sort of impulse wave, and then we'll see some type of correction here, you know. We just need to identify that 5 waves. If we can identify it very clearly, we can buy the pullback at 61.8%. If we can't identify it, then we'll have to take the B wave out and look to build above there. So even this here, we could go long above this B wave over here to get a small position if we see the market come up. But what will happen is that the 5 waves will come up to the top there, hit that top and pull back anyway. So we start with that, and then we can move back to here, and then we can look at the price point here, and we can, you know, refine it further and further and further until we can reduce our exposure in the market. It's all about managing that exposure than anything else. So is it ready? It's getting ready, looking good, but not quite there yet. You know, this ETF here, it hasn't really come back down here enough just yet, so there's probably more to come, and it won't be easy for it. We'll probably find some sort of support there on this. Let me just have a bit of a look at this. Yeah, the top's not very clear here, because that means we could look at this as the top here with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and down for 1 here and back for 2 here. Do you know what I mean? We might need this one and this one to play out down here further to finish it off as the C wave and give us a bit more, you know, distance down here. It looks like a nice 4th wave here, so we're kind of on the right track a little bit. This just looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this point. You know, I think that from there to there could be the 5 waves. But what about that one, and what about that one if they look a bit higher than this one? So, you know, we might need 4 and 5 and 4 and 5 to play out here before we're done. And it's always good if it drops down below the level. I mean, you always get a bit of a bounce off the level, but if it comes below the level, I like that, because if it comes below the level, then we can always just wait for it to you know, climb back above the level. So it's kind of testing below, and then like this over here, it tests below the level, and it could be a bit rough and ready in that. But visually, you know, you could make mistakes as, you know, as a new player, and get in a little bit early. So you might want to get in here, but when it crosses over the level here, you'll need to get out again, you know. And then you see it take out this top here. So then you know to get back in again. So you know, the more it matures, the more you see and the more confidence you can have on it. And if you know how the price works around price points, levels, then you're halfway there. So, you know, just basic things like, you know, a lot of people would see that and go in and short. I mean, I never short between to a big number like that. No way. You know, I mean, you'll get away with it, but you have to carry a fair bit of risk, because it will get bouncy down there, you know. Okay, I'll move that out the way. That's enough there. So over to the gas market. So this is just 100 ticks. This is down at the 65 number here with the $6.50. When we spoke last time, we were looking at this in 2 ways, because we've got a bullish count and a bearish count for this, you know, and we were looking at it as possibly having a low in place here, right, and looking at this as wave 1 to the upside. And we looked at this as an ABC back here for wave 2 here, somewhere in here, but we've just got this extra stuff here, and we've got a new low in. We could put, you know, as long as that doesn't breach here, we can put this as wave 2 over here. We can go like an A wave, a B wave, an A, B, C for the B wave, and down for the C wave, and have it here and move up from that point. That's possible. So we'll just leave the door open there, but, you know, it does increase the chance of further downside here. But of course, each time that it's bounced here, it's created, you know, another bounce, you know, once it reached here, it's created a bounce. So it would be logical to think that, look, it might sink down into here a little bit, but there will be some sort of bounce back in here. Eventually, we may see this become the retested resistance here, and then we can look for a short trade to the downside. Because if we go back to, I'm going to clear this up here for a moment. If we just go and have a look at the bigger picture here, I think we'll start at the daily chart or something. I can't remember what we had on each of these. So yeah, I mean, look, we looked at it as, you know, the A wave up here, and then and the B wave here, then with wave 1 up here, then an A, B, C for wave 2 here, which is good. But then I was thinking we'll get this kind of correction here and then come down here further. So the other point here is that this becomes the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here for the B wave over here. That was, you know, that's always been a account, and it's kind of come into play reasonably well. I mean, the takeaway here is we do not have a long trade yet. That's the bottom line. Do you want to short it? You can't really short it while it's sitting on this level here for this, you know. You know, it may not breach that low and it could just go up from that point. If that's the case, we'll take a look at that. But otherwise, there's still a good chance for this to come lower as a C wave. It was never really that clear in amongst all of this, but we can wrap all that up into the A wave here. Better to do that than to go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, you know. So it's better to wrap that up in there. We could look at this being 5 waves in here as an ABC, but if it's not an ABC pattern, it will be a wave 3, and then this will be a wave 4 over here. This thing here, and then down for wave 5, and that will be the C wave. There's an A, B, C here. I think we're on 5K and 2K. Let's just go in and have a look at what counts they are. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we're looking at it in a couple of different ways. So, but this was the this count with the A wave here, the ABC for the B wave, and then 1 and 2 and some third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave coming down here. Whichever way you wanted to look at this, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't ready for a buying opportunity just yet. And yeah, you can count this in different ways here as well. So anyway, I'll just see. We'll see if this becomes the retested resistance, and I'll do more work on all of this. But you know, it's pretty obvious that this is the third wave here. The question is do we need to put wave 1 and 2 up here for this, and then 1 and 2 over here? That's the question, you know, things like that. And this never, I've left that there because it never really counted down the way that I would have liked it to count down. So I know there's an issue in here, so that's why I've left that there. But yeah, we could look at this in different ways for sure. But anyway, we're just trying to find a bottom, and it's just not there yet, that's all. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. This is just Bitcoin here, and this Bitcoin can also come down here. This can be wave 1 and 2 here, the same as the US markets, with 3, 4, and 5 over here, by the way, so I wouldn't get caught up in that. It's either that, or we've got the low in here, and we have an A wave, B wave, and C wave up here into this, and then we come down in that way. So anyway, not to worry about that too much on this video. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.